Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So point number one is that what is right matters more than what everyone thinks. And what is right is something that you must discuss in order to figure out. Point number two is that the vast majority of old people have regrets. And the vast majority of people on the planet do not agree with the global agenda or any specific national agenda for that matter. Point number three is the vast majority of people who are from the wealthy class, when they die after living the most disgraceful lives in human history, and they die pleading with God for mercy, what have you. Now, some of you might wonder, well, how do you know that their lives are the most disgraceful? Well, let's look at it in terms of the Bible without necessarily looking at it as a Christian. When you see the Bible story as a kid or when you hear it at first, do you not think that the most disgraceful people that ever lived are Caesar, Pilate, Herod, Caiaphas, Judas, the soldiers who mocked Jesus, what have you? Immediately. No more information is needed. Now why? Well, because they did what you perceive to be the most immoral thing in the story. So how does that apply to real life? How they treat the righteous, who are like never rich, is the most immoral thing ever. And then from there, how they treat the masses of people who aren't moral enough to stand against them, with no ulterior motives, and after thinking very clearly about what to do and why. It's pretty straightforward. So my next point has to do with the picture on the screen here. It's one thing for people who are jerks to take over the world. Only jerks would give them credit. But when they're the type of monsters that starve to death, 9 million people a year, 3 million of them children, when countless people are raped and abused, and when they seem like Pee Wee Herman, except for more control freakish, okay, it is a catastrophic failure, and most people and their families are capable of seeing that. And there's a generation gap. Quite often, people who are like 90 years old, 80 years old, they don't see eye to eye with people who are 20 years old. We see it in the polls here in America, historically, what have you. In recent years, we've seen people take on a philosophy that's more like the old people out of a desire to survive. Bear with me now. We know that 1 in 5 CEOs are said to be psychopaths by their own psychologists. Corporations work together to make known those results. We know that there's massive cults here in America. When they so-called took down the NXIVM cult, Keith Raniere and Allison Mack, it revealed a massive cult network, and only a few people were arrested. Those people didn't just retire, any more than gangs retired, any more than organized crime retired. We know a lot of those people are Freemasons. That's how it goes. And Freemasons have come out with videos saying that the cults and the other secret societies often have to turn to them for information. I've seen at least one video to that effect, and there's other videos that suggest that, to say the least. We know that there's a lot of gay parades everywhere and other events like that, rock and roll, where people act in a way that is reckless and unreasonable using a mainstream scale. So there's a bunch of reckless people all over the place, right? Rap fans, rockers, metalheads, emos, goths, K-pop, gay parade types. Okay, making the distinction between people at gay parades and gays who scramble to be professional. I'm not gay myself, but that distinction is important. So when we look at the world, we see a world that's rather chaotic, rather reckless, and rather evil. The fruits of the governing class's social engineering plan. And anyone who doesn't understand that Pee Wee Herman, the real life version of Pee Wee Herman, is inferior to the real life version of the Black Panther is an idiot. So how much mind control must they do to people for them to have the misconception that Pee Wee Herman is magically greater?